Thanks for staying on. Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi undertook a vaccination sites and service delivery monitoring visit in Kempton Park and Tembisa on the East Rand. Dr. Motsoaledi's visit focused on sites where vaccinations are currently ongoing for Home Affairs officials as the program began this week. Minister Motsoaledi joins us now to talk about this. Minister, good evening and thank you very much for your time. Why is it taking so long to prioritize these frontline workers who are already facing major backlogs because of COVID-19?
Good evening, Tabo. Good evening to the viewers and listeners out there. That's a very good question, Tabo. But you remember that there was a time when every sector believed they have to be prioritized. So we all agreed that health workers are the most vulnerable. They need to be prioritized. If I had a choice, I would have said Home Affairs of
Oh dear me, we seem to have lost that connection to the minister. We'll try and get him back on in a moment. Well, in the meantime, let's have a look at what is leading right now in the news. South Africa's daily COVID-19 infections have surged in the past 24 hours. At least 17,351 new cases were reported, and 7,000 of those, 7,773 cases the previous day. Now, the new cases represented 24.4% positivity rate. A further 520 COVID-19 related deaths have been reported, taking the overall tally now to 70,908. Gauteng continues to be the hardest hit province with 5,204 cases recorded. It's followed by the Western Cape with 4,667 daily cases. We seem to have the minister back with us. Let's get back to it. So, Minister, you're saying you would have loved, but obviously health officials had to be prioritized at this particular time. But nonetheless, you are now on the list. Would this then mean that a number of the services that were disrupted will now come back online?
Well, that's a very difficult question, Tabo. Remember that the aim of this vaccination program is that eventually the country must reach herd immunity, not a particular sector, but the whole country. But for now, the services that we are offering are not in terms of the number of people vaccinated, but are in terms of the level of lockdown, whether it's lockdown level 5 or 4 or 3, 2, 1. We offer different services in terms of those levels, not in terms of the number of people vaccinated.
So you're saying that the limited services that you're currently offering under lockdown level 3 will continue to be there?
Oh, yes, they will continue to be there because we have just increased them from lockdown level 4. Every time we've got a new lockdown level, we adjust our services accordingly.
Yeah. You're saying you adjust accordingly, but there's been some criticism that you are quite slow and inconsistent in resuming services. How do you respond to that criticism?
Well, I'm not sure about slow. Inconsistent, they might say it's inconsistent because they don't see what you are seeing. We sit down and look at what's happening in our frontline offices and adjust accordingly. For instance, if we realize that a particular service at a particular time is bringing more people than we anticipated, we adjust, Tabo, because remember that Home Affairs offices by themselves can actually be a super spreader event, because you find lots of people there who are coming for services, queuing for a very long time, and many of them not observing social distances. And remember that we have considered many times, Tabo, we have considered that Home Affairs offices were not designed for the purpose for which they are being used, because they are actually being hired from landlords, and the landlords build them for something else. It's only now that we are holding discussions with Dr. Ramokgopa, the head of the Presidential Infrastructure Project, that Home Affairs need to have custom-made offices. Just like you have got a clinic in health, you have got a police station in subs, all those are not hired from anybody, and they bring services to the people. So we believe it's wrong for Home Affairs offices to be rented from somebody, because they are not designed for the purpose for which Home Affairs wants to use them for. For instance, when I was in Kempton Park today, I went to one of the offices. They were worrying that the counters are too high and the clients cannot reach up to the counters because somebody else did them for us. So those are the problems we are having. And because of those problems, we adjust accordingly. And members of the public might not be aware of what makes us adjust.
Yeah. So at this point, people will get the much needed enabling documents like your ID, your birth certificate, death certificate, and so on and so forth. But there's been a lot of questions around the citizenship applications and the permanent residency applications. You've made some extensions as far as visas are concerned. Short-term visas, I think you extended until the end of June, and long-term visas until the end of July. But you've not said anything about permanent residency or citizenship-related services.
Well, Thabo, you are aware that Home Affairs has got two arms. Two main arms. One arm is civics. That serves South Africans with their documents, base documents and identity documents, because they have got to be identified to go on their everyday lives, to run the economy, etc., etc. The second arm is immigration, where you are dealing with people from outside the country, either as refugees or asylum seekers, or people who come on for particular permits. Now we have got to weigh what is important for the country, and we have got to weigh what is possible for us. Remember, here we are dealing with possibilities, and we can't stand in front of you and lie to you that we have got facilities and resources to serve the whole world when people want to come here. We have got to weigh what we have, we have got to weigh what we don't have. For instance, you are aware that when the lockdown level started, the disaster, the Department of Public Service and Administration, together with the unions, decided how many workers must come to work at any one time. And so you titrate the services in terms of that. You guys there, you are working in the studio, you find that you are alone in the studio, you are not afraid of being in touch with anybody else, and you find that in the front office, the workers, have to be there in large numbers, and they infect each other. And so when we decrease them, we decide which services can we afford to give and which we are not. For instance, the issue of citizenship, we did not regard it as such a big emergency, more than South Africans getting their documents, which they make them go on with their lives.
Yeah. Are you likely going to then find yourself in a situation where you have backlogs that will now take you years to be able to catch up?
Well, in fact, let's look at the issue of asylum seekers. The backlog has been there for more than 15 years for people who are asylum seekers. You may remember that early this year, I had a ceremony with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, whereby the United Nations has donated 147 million rand for the next 4 years for us to hire extra lawyers to deal with the backlogs on the issue of asylum seekers. And since that time, we interviewed 48 lawyers, and we have appointed 36 of them. They are now being orientated to start this work of dealing with backlogs. So the backlogs were not only caused by COVID-19. They've been there from time immemorial, simply because of a very large number of people who come into the country asking for asylum, etc. Because most of them, Thabo, as you know, are economic migrants, unfortunately.
Now, Minister, before we let you go, of course, there are other issues at Home Affairs currently that you are having to deal with, particularly with court battles within the department and the officials who allegedly helped Shepherd Bushiri irregularly obtain permanent residency in South Africa. How far are those courts, and what is happening with those who have been suspended?
Well, we have suspended 5 people, Thabo. And they are supposed to go through a DC process, a disciplinary process. The court case you are talking about, 2 of them, it was one individual who was refusing to go through the DC process, and he rushed to the labor court. And of course, the labor court dismissed his case with costs, and then he wanted to appeal, and the appeal was dismissed last week. In other words, the Labour Court is saying, look, go back and answer your questions in the DC process. And that's what all the other four are going through. And we are going to choose a day on which the DC processes will start.
So as far as you're concerned, there are no legitimate disputes at this particular point on these matters and those suspensions?
I don't know. You mean legitimate disputes by the people who have suspended?
Yeah, about the processes that you're undertaking.
No. As I'm saying, it was one individual who had a dispute and the court did not agree with him. And Thabo, this issue of Bushiri, remember, it taught us what's going on in the permitting sector. That's why I've put up a team now, which is headed by the former Director General in the presidency, Dr. Cassius Lubisi. That team is reviewing all the permits that were issued in the country since 2004. 2004 being the year in which the Immigration Act came into effect. We want to see the business permits that were issued, the permanent residence, the naturalized citizenship, the study visas, the spousal visas, all the visas that were issued, permits and visas that allowed people to come to the country. We want to see whether they came in a fair way, because we suspect there's been a whole lot of corruption there.
Minister, appreciate your time.